All right, hello. My name is Jason. I use he, him pronouns. We are here to play Alien World. This is session 4 of 4, the finale. Scenario we're calling Haunted Station. That it's a sci-fi survival horror story game, heavily influenced content-wise and genre trope-wise by the Alien films. Um, our third player should be here shortly, we're hoping. But let's check in with the two players we got. Just tell us again yourself and your character, your names and pronouns, and just kind of assess and give us a feel of what is the state of the mind? What is your character's state of mind and body, you think, at this point? Let me start with John. Tell us about you and your character.
Yep. Hey, I'm John. I use he, him pronouns. Playing Melody, who uses she, her pronouns. Um, I think we're witnessing Melody have a religious awakening, so to speak.
Hmm.
What that's really going to turn into and what direction that takes will be discovered.
Right, right. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Mark.
Hi, I am Mark. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Quinn, who also uses he, him pronouns. Quinn has, during the last episode, during the last session, he was attuning to some kind of new intelligence that turned out to be apparently the star Asperi that we are surrounding, or that we're in orbit around on board the station. It's a brown dwarf. So that was very strange. He's curious about this this project XX121 that was referenced um, by the star last time. Something about maybe one of the collective consciousness that is the star may be held captive by Wayland Yutani. So he's very curious about that, but the backside of that is that he really just wants to get to the transport ship that they can see and try to get out of here.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, take their chances after they get away from here of being picked up by someone.
Right. And I do see on our let me actually get you guys there too. The tabletop on your character sheet, there's a mark that you have a gut punch from Mitchell. I think we described that means you would be kind of slow on the draw. You'd be kind of lagging until you. And certainly, you guys can do this at any point. Take a moment to try to get some medical care to try to recover from that. Melody is physically doing great. Actually, stress wise too. Quinn, you're at 4 stress. You're not overwhelmed, but you're close. Um, Safety wise, we talked in much greater length about this in session 1, but briefly, we're using the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. We're using the open door. We're using lines and veils. We have a line on, I believe it was sexual violence, homophobia, and transphobia. So we won't have any of that. And then we have a veil on torture. So if there's any torture, it'll be off screen. It'll be just alluded to. And if anything, if all of our other safety tools fail to keep you feeling good, you can always X card and take out whatever you need to. You guys alluded to some of this, but just briefly, setup wise, we ended with you in a maintenance corridor high up on the outer ring. It is bathed by the brown orange light of Asperi, the brown dwarf star that the station is circling, is orbiting. And because one side of this maintenance corridor has all these shutters, so the light is kind of coming through and has that nice kind of shuttery effect on the walls. This maintenance corridor is has terminals. It has all kinds of panels and pipes and wires. It runs for quite a distance. One way is blocked, but the other way leads to an airlock. where there's all kinds of cabinets and stuff where presumably equipment you would use for spacewalk for EVA is over there. Um, Looking out the window, we described that there's wreckage, and pieces of material, floating through space. That clearly the station is falling apart. Um, we described that you can look out and you can see the inner ring, and you can see you're slowly rotating towards a part of the inner ring where the inner ring and the outer ring would connect via an umbilical, but the umbilical has been exploded. So you're getting to that point where the two remaining parts of the umbilical would be relatively close to each other, but we said that if you're going to go from one place to the other, there's going to be there's a gap in between, a gap in space. As Mark mentioned, you found out last time that the star is sentient. It has sort of is communal would be maybe the word, a consciousness of a communal consciousness of uses all us and we, doesn't have any singular consciousness, but apparently Weyland-Yutani has taken part of the star and is holding it here in the station, and it wishes to return to the rest of it, to be reunited, and it is at least somewhat friendly, I guess, in that it's warned you that you must leave soon, that the station is going, and all signs from the terminals, from what you see looking out into space, you're way too close to the star, and clearly the station, it doesn't have its usual thrusters and whatnot are not maintaining its orbit. It is going to crash into the star relatively soon. There was also some ominous warning that the star gave you that that quote unquote she is too strong, that there's some other consciousness that is having an influence that it's aware of. Let's see. You had seen that on the inner ring, above, kind of like above where this umbilical connects to the inner ring, there's a large module, on the inner ring, a circular sort of module, and it's lit up, like it clearly has power. And in addition, it also has like a missile battery that's attached to it, and there's another umbilical that leads off, presumably from this XX-12 lab, that leads to a transport ship, not as big as your ship, but a pretty sizable ship. I cleaned up the map that we kind of made on the fly, and the star has shown you this sort of rough blueprint of what this module looks like. Titan Station Psi Admin Module is what we call it. You have 2 non-player characters remaining of your group. They are Mitchell, the corporate executive, very handsome man, always wearing his sunglasses, very well dressed, has a pistol, very insistent on getting the other NPC, Dr. Matsushita, some sort of scientist. They were passengers on your ship, and he wants to get him to the corporate executive that he presumes is over there on the inner ring. Anything important I forgot that we should put in our memories as we get started here today? No, I think that pretty much covers the key stuff. We had gone around at the end of last session and kind of laid out like what you were doing, and Brooklyn Matthews' character, and I think also you, Quinn, had said that you were going to kind of look around, to find some gear to maybe help you bridge that gap between the umbilicals, the parts of the umbilical, the remains of the umbilicals. So maybe we start, I think we'll start with a framing us. You've moved to the airlock part of this maintenance corridor, that side, and we see Mitchell helping Matsushita into a spacesuit. There's all these cabinets, lots of different spacesuits. So there's plenty of spacesuits, one for everybody is no problem. and they look like the ones from Alien, like this. And they're bulky. You're going to be very awkward in them, but they've got a nice like headlamp on top to shine through the dark of space. And we see, like I say, Mitchell is helping Matsushita and himself into spacesuits. We probably see Quinn, opening some cabinets, checking out what kind of equipment is around. And I think Melody, I think you weren't sure exactly how you were going to do it, John, but you were thinking maybe you were going to try to manipulate Mitchell to give you some more info.
Yes, because there's a terminal here, and I'm hoping I can get access to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Melody tells Mitchell, we really should try and assess the situation over there before we just blindly set out. But I can't get into the computers. But you probably have credentials, right, Mitchell?
He says, actually, let's do the draw. Let's see how that works, and then we'll see how the conversation goes. I think that's probably the best way to do this. So that sounds like a good intro. Let's get back to the tabletop. All right, so this is a safety move called Manipulate. Trigger this move when you use Charm, Authority, Negotiation, or Logic. It sounds like a logic to try to get someone to do something they don't want to do. He kind of wants to just get going, so I think he's not necessarily going to want to do this, but he might work. He might work. So you get one card for nothing. Does Melody have any expertise that would help make this work?
Let's see. I'm trying to think if I can spin connected somehow.
Can you say again what your goal is, John? You're talking to Mitchell and you're trying to get him to...
My goal is for Melody to get access to the computer.
Right. You want him to, slap his access, credentials or whatever into the computer, so then you can...
I think what Melody does with her connected skills, she like name drops someone that she's heard of on the station, some like high profile scientist or somebody that she thinks will get his attention of, well, we should really check if, so-and-so is over there.
Right. Okay, that's perfect. That's what I was thinking too. Okay, so we'll give you that. Do you have the right tool for the job? Is there any piece of gear that you have or want to declare that might make this go better?
No, but I want to argue that Mitchell's the right tool. Mitchell is the tool.
Yeah.
But I guess like this is specifically
this is to get him to
manipulating
him. I hear you. Yeah, he certainly has the information you want. So if you work out well, we'll roll that into what you get out of the computer, basically. Right. All right, so we can say no on that part then, and then finally, significant advantage. Is there anything we've established that would give you significant advantage here?
No, and I don't think I can use my priest ability either. I don't think this counts as marching headlong into danger.
No. All right, and then finally, do you want to take a stress to get an extra card? That'll be 3, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so take one of those little red X's, slap it on there. When you are ready, draw 3 resolution cards.
All right, here we go. That's a miss. That's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And an edge.
Okay, so this is the interesting choice. You want to go with an edge, which says, let's see, on a hit, they must go along with what you're asking or choose to gain stress. On an edge, you must promise to do something for them in return. So you could take the edge, get what you want. You're going to get what you want either way, but then you're going to have to promise something in return. And the opportunity, you can get the triumph, get what you want without any sort of recompense, but then you have to take a stress to turn that opportunity into a triumph.
I think I'll spend the stress and make it a triumph.
Okay. So he actually, it's Matsushita speaks up. Matsushita is listening too. Mitchell is coolly just looks at you with a blank look. And but Matsushita jumps forward and says, "Oh, Dr. Singh? You know Dr. Singh? Oh, he was one of my mentors. Yeah, we don't want to disappoint Singh. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a good idea." And so he comes forward and he slaps his credentials on, the pad, and it reads it, and kicks up, "Welcome, Dr. Matsushita. How can mother be of assistance today?" And of course, it's all in like DOS. It's just like, it types it out. So yeah, and then you just, like they do in the Alien movie, in Alien at least, you just type in plain text like, "What do you want to ask?" and then it responds. It's like a conversation, sort of, I guess.
Yeah. So at this point, my hope is, I'll type in a prompt or two about what I said I would, and then if they, my hope is that they're gonna stop paying attention and maybe like go back to putting their suits on.
Yeah.
And at that point, I want to ask Mother. Okay, I'm gonna maybe create an NPC. So I want to ask for the location of. We said this is a religious sanctuary, a rumored religious sanctuary. If it's all right with you, I'd like to say that's the same religion that I'm a priest of.
Mm.
And so, I'd like to locate the person that I know to be the head here.
Sure.
Of that sanctuary.
Sure.
And see if they're still, like, are they still alive? Are they still on the ship? Where are they
Sure.
at?
Sure. Okay, so let me take you back to this map. They, as a Weyland-Yutani contractor, they, same as you guys, they have an injected PDT, a personal data transmitter, which can be picked up within 5 miles or so. And it so happens that it's picked up somewhere in here in the XX121 labs. What's this person's name, you think?
I was just gonna pull up a generator. Let's see.
Go ahead and look around. Let me jump over to Quinn and see how Quinn's doing. So Quinn, I think from at least where we left off, and tell me if you want to change your plan, but you were planning to investigate basically for gear. I think you specifically said something about something like a propellant or something to like help you get across that gap. So let's look at the investigate move. This is a safety move also. When you have appropriate fictional positioning, you may search for information, a person or a thing. Before drawing, share a story. So what do we see you saying? Who are you talking to? Or is it like a flashback? Something, again, that teaches us more about Quinn. We learned a lot about Quinn last time, that's for sure. And remember too, I'm sorry, on the table, let me take you back to the tabletop.
Thank you.
And looking back at your cards, you have your monster survivor. I don't know if you want to use it here, but it has this bit about once per session, you may share a repressed traumatic memory about the monsters and reduce your stress by 1. So remember that you've got that in the bank.
Yeah. But right now I am sharing a story to power investigate. Is that right?
Yeah, it's part of it.
Okay.
It's basically like in the movie, we would see you either talking to somebody, or we would see you looking around, and it would, it would flash back to something in your past that would tell us about you.
Let's see. And so they're just the 4 of us in here. Mitchell, Matsushita, and then
we'll say Brooklyn's there too. So there's a bunch of you.
Brooklyn. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's see. Tell a story. This is going to be. This is going to be. This will be a monster story, I guess. So Quinn is talking to Matsushita,
Mhm.
and he's trying to get his attention. We'll see if Mitchell lets him.
Yeah.
And he says, "So, Dr. Matsushita, I think I know what we're dealing with here. When we climbed through that tunnel up here, all those people encased in resin, hosts. I saw it before. If one of those things gets close to you, you just gotta remember it's either you gotta use fire. If you have something that you can find that'll make a flame, use fire. It doesn't like fire, but don't shoot it. Don't punch it, anything like that, because man, it's gonna spray acid all over the place. It'll get ugly really fast. Just keep that in mind. It'd be good if we could make some incinerators or something here, but I guess right now we just need to find a way over to that transport ship.
And Matsushita, he just nods his head as you're talking, and he says, "Fascinating. You've had experience with the XX-121. I thought that only high level employees of the company. Well, there may have been survivors, I suppose. We must talk greater length at some point. Um, and I wonder if, as you're saying this, do we have like flashes of you using fire against the monsters or an experience? I'm just saying that because you can lean into that and get that minus, you can reduce your stress by one if we show a little bit of your own trauma
Yeah,
related to what you're saying.
it was a situation where it was this colonist ship that he was investigating. It was before he turned over some folks who were screwing with the colonist ship, but he was on board the colonist ship where one of these things had been, and he had an actual like military incinerator. And in this scenario, he was talking to his buddy as they were kind of like, they're both colonial marshals. They're like walking down this corridor, and then one of these creatures comes up behind his buddy, and so Quinn turned the incinerator on him, and he torched them both the creature and his buddy at the same time in order to escape. It was
all right, perfect.
Disturbing.
Yeah, go ahead and reduce your stress by one. All right, John, did you come up with a name for this guy, this person?
Yes, it is Stefania Kulik.
Stefania.
She has she/they pronouns.
Okay. And this is the leader of your church, or a member of your church. Is that how you described it?
She's a leader.
Okay. Leader of church. Okay. And I'm going to say, just to deepen that narrative, you haven't been in contact with them for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think it's fair to say, right, because I think the whole card is that Melody was kicked out, right, was the story when I flipped it. Yeah, Melody was essentially kicked out for pursuit of like worldly goods.
Okay, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. Okay, so Mark, getting back to you on the investigate. Describe what you're hoping to find or discover. I think we have some hints of that, but describe to me, if this works out great, what would be the perfect thing to find?
The perfect thing to find would be an attachable kind of jet suit that sits at the base of your, or that sits on part of your space suit, and that you could use to maneuver yourself over to the other location.
Perfect. Okay. Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot in your course of looking around here.
I think that there is there's an area where the lights are flickering over in the corner. There's like a little maintenance a little maintenance office over to the side,
Mhm.
and he walks over to check it out, and he can see on the door that there's this like kind of brittle web work of the resin, but he
Mhm.
thinks that what he probably needs is in there. So he forces open the door, breaking those pieces of resin off, and then goes inside to look around for the item
Okay.
that he's looking for.
Right. Let me flip a threat card because that's a perfect moment for this. There it is. This card is called Something is Out There. The PCs describe what they see, hear, or sense that tells them that a monster is nearby waiting for a perfect opportunity. So, in addition to what you describe, what else do you find that tells you there's something else out there? And let me add, it's something bigger than you've yet seen.
Okay. So let's see. What else is it that says that?
And he's given your background. It's something maybe you have seen.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
maybe you know a little more than others would.
He sees that this has a drop ceiling in this area, and something is kind of like crushed through that drop ceiling, and one way or another he can't quite tell if it was going out of this room or into this room.
Right.
And it's
Perfect.
large.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay, and then when that card's active, which it is now, then it gives me just I can basically jump scare you. I can throw out a monster and get you. So I will keep that on the table for now. Okay, I think we're ready for the draw and the investigate. Um, and John, I'll come back to you, and basically you got a triumph, so I'll let you have a couple more questions or a couple more things you want to ask on your investigate, or you're checking out the computer in addition to what we gave you so far. So think what else you might want to know, but let's go ahead and do Mark's draw here. So you get one card for nothing. Do you have any expertise that would help you with what you're doing here?
So investigate.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Do you have the right tool for the job? Is there anything you have or want to declare that would help you, I don't know, find it?
Flashlight.
Uh,
That's okay.
no, I think there's enough light. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe this is going to be a significant advantage that you're looking in the right place.
Okay.
If what you're looking for is anywhere on this station, it would be here.
Cool.
So I will give you that one. So you're up to 3 cards.
Okay.
And then do you want to push yourself? Take a 4th stress.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
do.
All right. So you're up to 4 cards.
Okay. So I'm going to move that stress over.
Yep.
And I'm going to start drawing my resolution cards. 1. Opportunity.
Okay.
Miss. Edge. Wow. We just keep drawing the same stuff, John. Let's shuffle this.
I think you get one more. You got that 4th.
Oh, that's right. I had 4.
Yeah.
Sorry. I forgot.
Maybe you'll get the triumph.
It's a miss.
Nope. Okay. So you got the same choice. You want to go with an edge, which in this case, either case is a hit. So you will find what you're looking for. You also might find something that moves the plot forward. But on a triumph, what you find is especially useful, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to just go with an edge, which would give you what you're looking for, or do you want to push it, take a stress, turn an opportunity into triumph?
I'm going to take the edge.
Okay, that sounds fair. So you find what you're looking for. In addition, you find something that moves the plot forward. So I think you find a just what you described. I think it's perfect. It's like I don't know, it's like a little jetpack kind of thing. It's probably limited amount of fuel, but it's probably used for maintenance jobs. Kind of like pushing yourself around, the edge of the station. But yeah, it's got a full tank of compressed air, I guess is probably what it would be. And moving the plot forward. I think that there's a crackle on the intercom, and you guys hear Captain Falati's voice, and she's saying, can anyone hear this? Is anyone, getting this? Come in.
And I think it's like a scramble to get get that transmitter or communications device out. And Quinn's like, Falati, go ahead.
And it's like a door. It's like a little panel on the wall is what it is, and you like push a button is what it is.
Cool.
It's not this. You guys, we haven't established that you guys have any sort of communicators that you have. So this is sort of like the station itself.
Got it.
Falati is Quinn. Is that you?
Yes, affirmative. Go ahead.
Thank God. I thought you guys were dead or gone or taken. Look, there's some sort of monster. There's something. It took Hawks, and she kind of chokes up a little bit when she says that. It just took her.
Have you got the shuttle running?
Yeah, but look, we can't get the bay doors open. There's some sort of override, some sort of administrative override. It says we can't hack it at all. Katri can't make heads or tails of it. The code's all fucked up.
And then I think that Quinn looks at Melody, who is logged into that console with some advanced
right
access. And Quinn says, okay, I'll see what I can do on my end.
Okay. Look, I think the station's falling apart. We got to get out of here. You got some way to get out, or can you get back here? And you hear some thumping, and she goes, look, I don't think it's safe coming back here. There's something, whatever the monster is, I think that's trying to get through the door.
Can you get on board the shuttle?
Yeah, I think we're okay. I mean, this place is pretty much locked down, but we got to get the door open. You got to do something to get these doors open. We can't from here. Can you get to like ops or, some sort of, command center or something?
We'll try to get the doors open, but you need to come and pick us up and then he describes the location that they are.
Okay. She goes, is there anywhere to dock there or anything?
It's going to there'll be a little bit of a space walk.
Okay.
Kind of a stroll.
Okay. All right. She goes, all right, look, we'll try to, what's the pilot's name? I forget. Styles has got this intercom working. We'll try to keep it working. Everything's falling apart though. But once the doors open, we'll get out of here and we'll try to circle the station as long as we can to see if we can spot you.
Copy that.
Okay. Is there anything else Melody wants to type into Mother, see if she can get more information?
I mean, I guess if I'm here, I'm curious about what projects are in that lab. I forget the name of it. Or no, we were told a project name, weren't we?
Yep, there's two big labs. There's apparently something called XX121, and then there's a Sperry, which is the name of the star.
Yeah, and I'm most curious about XX121 since that's where Stefania is.
Right. And it immediately comes back with biometric authentication required, highly classified. And this terminal doesn't have like a retinal scanner or like a fingerprint or anything. So it's telling you, it's not going to tell you unless it somehow verifies that you indeed have the authorization.
Yeah, I mean,
now you could try to hack it. I don't know if you're much of a hacker, but You know, it's not out of reach, but it's stonewalling you for sure.
No, I think at that point Melody just like mutters shit under her breath and
Hmm.
kind of resigns that okay,
Right.
that's what I'm getting. But I know
Mhm.
Stefani's there, so I'm gonna go there.
Right. And it says somewhat ominously, it's the mother says, your query has been reported to the corporate administrator, Dr. Matsushita.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So let's, if there's nothing else, I think we're ready to, we'll sort of screen swipe. We'll jump ahead of, a short period later as we move out into space. And we see the five of you walking on the surface of the outer ring. There's, I'm imagining that your boots probably have some sort of like magnetic, like clamp. Or not clamps is the right word. I can't think of what they call it. Anyways, like you have magnetic boots, so like clomp, clomp, clomp. It's slow, but at least you're not going to fly off into space. Working your way along the outer surface of the outer ring towards this point, like I said, this nexus point. And as you're going along, there's lots of times that you have to just like duck or like step to the side as pieces of wreckage like silently go floating past. You see panels kind of, ripping off of the surface of the ship. Um, there's obviously, maybe you feel some rumbling through your boots. I don't know. I guess you probably feel, no, would you feel the vibration? I don't know. Let's say you do because it's cool. So you feel some rumbling, but you don't hear anything as everything shakes and trembles. Clear this station is the structural integrity is failing here. There's always your beige with that orange brown light, that sends out these shadows, along the surface of the station as you move along. Let's do this as the travel or location move called walking and talking. So when moving through a potentially dangerous area for the first time, the GM provides a rough description, done and done, and then we ask you some questions. Just an opportunity. Like I said, I'm not gonna probably just ask one of you guys. Let me ask Mark this time. What's something that you would like to add that you think would be cool, or that would help you tell your story, or that would be interesting, or the genre appropriate that you want to add to this walk and talk?
So I think that as we're moving along, we see that there is a section ahead of us on the ring, a small area that is um, kind of partially blown outward, like in
Hmm.
the skin of the station.
Hmm.
And you can see that there is, you can see like acid pocking around this area, like maybe something exploded with acid from the interior of the station, hit that area, and then weakened it so that it kind of, and all the air seems to have vented out of that area, and they must have locked it down. But there is a corpse that is jammed into that little small rupture
Right,
in the skin.
right, right. Yeah, and I think in space, I guess you sort of your blood boils and your air and your forcefully it's let's just say it's not pleasant. The body, what happens to you when you're exposed to vacuum is not pleasant. Okay, great. And I think the next part is like, how do you travel? I think we kind of established that. I think you really have much of a choice. It's going to be slow, it's going to be plodding, whether you like it or not, and there's really nowhere to hide. Maybe there's like little bits of wreckage and stuff, but I mean, it's pretty much you're exposed, you're moving slowly along. um, then someone tells a story, and we'll say like you have little like little headsets that you can talk to each other. So let me give this one to you, Melody. What's something that we hear Melody's talking about, or again some sort of flashback that tells us more about Melody?
I think I'm assuming we've got, intersuit communications.
Yeah,
And so I
yeah.
think Melody comes over the comms and it's just like, hey, Quinn, you remember that time you and I drew the short sticks and had to go out on the ship and replace who's it, what's it? And you got so scared. And you were convinced you were going to fall off the ship. I remember that day you swore you'd never step foot out in space again.
And Quinn says, "Man, I was just scared for you, Melody. I was fine. Yeah, but I'd rather not be out here."
Yeah,
And
you big liar.
you can see sweat is just pouring down his face inside the suit.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Looking at your comic relief. Reduce your stress by 1 whenever someone tells you to shut up. Did you just tell them to shut up, maybe?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much the sentiment.
Well, thank
So
you.
go ahead and reduce your stress by 1.
I totally forgot that was a thing. You're welcome.
Yep.
That worked out.
And for you, just to put it in Mark's mind, Melody has reduce your stress by 1 when you press your beliefs on others and they respond poorly. So if you want to help her out, she can start to preach to you or something, and then you can tell her to shut up also. Okay, so great. We then resolve this. Which one of you would probably be? I think, especially since we've established that you're winded from your gut punch, I think straightforward, you're going to be very worn out. You even described yourself sweating, being physically, probably mentally in a bad place in doing this, Quinn. So I think you're going to be drawing for us here. So do you have any expertise that would help you handle this spacewalk, this EVA? Um, Anything that we know about Quinn, expertise wise?
Well, I'm going to say I don't think there's anything there.
Yeah, let's see. Comic relief, no. Quick-witted, monster survivor, sensitive, investigator, disarming, and psychology. No, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
All right, so you have the right tool for the job. I think you've established your fancy little jetpack, so we'll give that to you. In fact, you can add that to your gear, jetpack or something, and see if that comes into use. It's definitely useful here. That'll help keep you safe, travel a little better, a little easier. So you're up to 2 cards. Is there anything we've established that gives you significant advantage? No, I can't think of anything. And then, do you wish to push yourself by taking a stress?
Well, I guess I better. So I'm at 2 cards. If I push myself, I'll have 3 cards.
That's right.
Okay. So I'll do that.
All right. And when you are ready, go ahead and draw 3 cards.
Okay. Here we go. Had to come in at some point, right?
There you go. Great. So that tells us is on a hit, the group reaches their destination without any significant problem. On a triumph, they arrive unnoticed and gain significant advantage on their first action at their new destination. So let me make a note of that. You have significant advantage. That's sort of like for the group, you got that banked. You got a significant advantage at we'll call it the umbilical. That's where you're going to end up here. Okay, so let's roll right into the next one, which is new location. This is you've walked along probably half an hour or so. It's probably quite a ways. And going slowly like we described. You walk along and then you get to like where the umbilical, it's sort of like a semi-rigid sort of structure. Like it has girders and stuff, but it's kind I think of it as sort of like, when you get on a plane and there's what do they call it? The walkway or whatever that you go out from the terminal out into the plane. It's kind of like that. But obviously it's got to protect you from space. So it's thicker and more firm than that would be, but it's basic concept, same basic concept. So you get there and then like with this, you kind of like more pull yourself, out to as far out as you can go. And we see you guys getting to the end of this. And as you get to the end of it, you see there's must have been a huge explosion. There's all the girders are all twisted and bent and curved, blackened. There's lots of wreckage just sort of floating there. And there, like you look out and you can see it's dark, it's shadowed over there, but you can tell it's a pretty fair distance from here to there. Now, being space truckers, you think maybe I could just push off and get there, but it's not a guarantee, right? It's extremely risky. Now, Quinn knows with your little jetpack, you feel pretty confident you probably with your jetpack you should be able to go from A to B without any major mishap. You shouldn't avoid flying off into space. But the others, like, yeah, I'm not so sure, right? Um, so that's the location. And similarly to what we did with the walking and talking, give you guys an opportunity to add a detail. This time, let me have Melody. Is there anything you would like to add to this location that, again, would either make it cool, make it genre appropriate, or would just help you do something that you want to be able to do?
I think this is potentially something that helps or hurts. I think there's like hosing that was running along the interior of the umbilical, probably like air hoses or whatever, that are still venting air.
Hmm.
And so there's these jets of air that are coming out at random directions now,
Right.
that are like adding to this whole gauntlet of how do you get from point A to point B.
Right. So yeah, these pipes, they vent and then they sort of move. They're like loose now, so they kind of float over this way because any Newton or whatever, like any force in one direction causes the opposite reaction. I'm horribly mangling whatever that law is. But anyways, so then it squirts over this way, it waves sort of this way, then another venting that way. So there's just this constant like waving of tentacles.
Yeah.
Great. Place a non-monster threat. So I think again, the whole station is, trembling, and you see it's real spooky because it's all silent, but you see like there's must have been like a module that like jutted out from the outer ring, and you can see it just breaks off. It's probably the size of like a house, and it just breaks off and it just sort of like passes over your heads, maybe, it's not you don't feel like you're going to get hit or anything, but it's just spookily silently passes over your heads. Maybe there's some electricity, sparking and whatnot. So there's a lot of the structural instability is the non-monster threat that I'm throwing out there right now. And then it's the first time add a plot hook and I'm dealt a threat card. So because we're in Act 2, I get 2 threat cards. Let me do that before I forget. See what I got. Ooh, all right. So I think what happens is that you guys arrive, and immediately Mitchell, moves to the front, and he's assessing, the the same as you are, this jump, this gap. And he and Matsushita are kind of towards the front. And Quinn, you've been lagging behind, you're struggling. And you come along and you get to the end, and you pull yourself along, onto one of these girders to just sort of rest for a moment. And this blackened rounded girder, it moves. And let me play some cards. So first, I'm going to play this one. Tension builds. Place the next monster card on the table. And we'll play this one. Perfect organism. PCs witness an adult drone, warrior, or runner showing off its magnificence. Gain 1 stress, but the PCs gain a free use of significant advantage. I'll get back to that in a minute, how that plays out. And then I got to play another one. Monster attack. So this, you're going to see this, and then it's also going to attack you, is basically what that means. And was there one more? I think that's it. Yeah. All right. So what happens is, you pull yourself along, and you sort of like, it's space. So I guess leaning against it's not like you're really going to rest, but like you just you go out. You all but sit down on this, and it moves, and you like stumble, it pushes you a little bit, and you spin as much as you can. Maybe you push against like a another piece of wreckage, and of course everything's slow. You get this bulky suit, it's space, so you're doing the thing where you're turning, but like your eyes are like trying to like look as far as you possibly can in that direction as you spin, and you see this thing, which unfortunately to you you've seen before. You see this huge black, it looks cadaverous but powerful and strong. It unwinds itself. It was like coiled up, and what you had touched was its smooth domed head. And it looks at you. It looks towards you, but it doesn't have any eyes. And you see it has this mouth with these slavering jaws. And probably the slaver would just sort of sits there in space, though, like it wouldn't really drip, right? So this liquid is sort of slavering out of it, and it freezes instantly. And it has these metallic looking teeth, and its mouth opens, and you see there's a little mouth in there. And it's at least 8 feet tall, and it slowly unwinds itself. It has these weird pipes on its back. It's got this long whipping tail that unwinds, and it slowly unwinds itself, and displays itself in front of you. So the fact that it takes its sweet time to do this, that's why you get the significant advantage in dealing with it. So there's 2 things that come into play here. Last time we established that you using your comic relief meant that the next time you face a threat, it's going to attack Quinn. So that's why you're the one suffering this. Secondly, having this card on the table, something is out there. You're going to have to do the move called, what do I call it? Staring into the void. So what's Quinn's immediate reaction in this moment? What do you think? What do we see in his face? What does he say? What's his reaction?
He's been sweating, but his eyes are wide. His pupils are like fully dilated, and you can see tears are starting to form at the edges of his eyes as he's trying to see this thing. And he's trying to like find the control on the arm keypad so that he's
Right.
not even sure where he's going to be oriented at, just to fire off that compressed air and get away.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the stare into the void and get it on the table, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back. It'll be the good time for a commercial break, a moment of high tension, and then we'll come back and see what plays out. So stare into the void. So again, this is I think was it John that we had do this earlier when the facehugger popped out. When suddenly this is a peril move. When suddenly confronted by death, describe how you try to pull it together and do something before the threat does its worst. So this isn't what you do. This is how you pull it together enough to do something, not just stand there.
Mm-hmm.
So you get 1 card for nothing. Is there anything we know about Quinn that would help him pull it together enough to do something before bad things happen?
Well, he's a monster survivor.
Yeah,
he got away once. He thinks he can get away again.
Good point. I like it. Okay, so you're up to 2. So do you have the right tool for the job? Now, this isn't what you do. This is something that would help you pull yourself together, I guess.
Nope.
No, I can't think of anything. And then significant advantage. We already know you get significant advantage. In fact, you have 1 significant advantage just because this thing took its sweet time. So we'll give you that right now. But then you guys still have that other one banked from your triumph on the walking and talking. So keep that in mind. Don't let me forget. So yes, you do have significant advantage. And then do you want to take your 5th stress to get a fourth card. Yeah, we'll go with 3.
He's gonna go with 3.
Okay. All right. A gambler. All right. So when you're ready, go ahead and draw 3 cards. Hope for some sort of hit.
Well, the problem is there are so many threat cards out on the table,
So
Jason.
there's no room for it.
No, I'm just kidding around. I'm joking.
I know.
All right, here we go. Number 1, edge.
All right, great.
Number 2, miss, and one more, right?
Yep.
Number 3, miss.
Okay. Edge. So where you're at, you're going to get a hit. You're going to manage to act before the threat does its worst. And then you have to choose one from this list. Gain a stress, lose an important item, or make a lot of noise, and the GM draws a threat card.
I think probably taking that extra stress would be seems to make the most sense narratively.
All right, so you're going to max out your stress. So go ahead and do that.
Okay.
And then the next question is going to be when we come back is what are you going to do now with this monster in front of you? So let's go to break with Quinn freaking out with this thing in front of him. You also start thinking about, take a look at that overwhelmed move. Start thinking about what you're going to do to try to cope with your overwhelmed stress sometime very soon.
Will I be dealing with overwhelmed first or dealing
I think you'll have to deal with the monster first.
Monster.
And then once there's a half a second of pause, then I'll force you to do something to deal with your stress.
Sounds good.
Quick
Okay,
question.
so yeah, go
Jason. Did you say we all took a stress for seeing the alien as well?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yep.
Oh, so
Yeah.
actually, I
So-
didn't have that stress to give up then. I was already
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
that's right. So what we'll do, yeah. So John also is overwhelmed also. Great,
Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, because of the perfect organism, seeing its display stresses you out. So what we'll do instead, you have to make a choice then, either lose an important item or make a lot of noise and give me more threat cards.
Copy that.
You want to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we come back, make that.
Oh. John, are you getting Jason kind of freezing up right now?
Yeah, he froze.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Really wanted a break.
I was say let's go to break and we'll send them a Slack message.
Got it.
Can you see and hear me all right now, John?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay. All right, everybody's back. Any questions or anything before we get back to where we left off? No? Okay, so first of all, so you weren't able to take an extra stress, so you had to decide whether to lose something important or make a lot of noise and give me more threat cards. What do you think, Quinn?
Okay, mute. Interesting. So I think that it's probably the most interesting if I lose something. Specifically, I guess I lose the little jetpack.
Right. So I think what happens in your panic, you hit the button, you're hitting buttons like randomly, and you hit the emergency release, right? And you also hit the go,
Yeah,
and it goes spinning off into space.
perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, so that's the least of your problems though, because now you have an 8-foot monstrosity, not seemingly not bothered by being in the vacuum whatsoever. Uh, now it's done unfurling itself. It looks like it means business. So, what are you gonna do to save your life? Melody, you're not too far away either, so you think about that too.
So this is sorry. Now I'm trying to remember which move I'm looking at. So this is the peril move that is.
Yeah, so basically the way I break it down is you can fight it, you can run from it, or you can try to hide from it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So he's trying to run.
Okay, that makes sense. Trying to escape. So let's take a look at that. Run. Narrate the first half of Hectic Chase and Draw. Let me ask Melody, are you planning to do the same kind of thing, or do you want to hide? What's your reaction going to be to this horrible monster? Neither one of you can fight because neither one of you have any stress to give. You have to have at least one stress to give to even fight. So that's not even on the table.
Yeah. I like the hide option.
Okay. Okay. So what we'll do, I think we'll handle the run first and see how that goes, and then we'll come back and do the hide if necessary. I think. Let me just look at how this works out, see if it might make sense if they could do it the other way. Yeah, let's do the run and see how that goes, and then we'll do the hide. So narrate the first half of a Hectic Chase and Draw. So what do we see? How do you try to run? What does it look like?
I think what happens is as Quinn watches the jetpack zoom off into space, he finally finds the button that releases the magnets in the boots. And he just tries to launch himself toward the other part of the umbilical.
Right.
Perfect. That's the run.
Yeah, I think that's that was the obvious thing to do. Perfect. And I think we'll say we see Matsushita and we see Mitchell. We see Mitchell more or less grabs Matsushita and throws him, same thing, and then leaps himself. And then apparently we'll say for our purposes too, Brooklyn does also. So all of you decide to get the hell out of here and make that jump without any pause. Let's see how this works. So on a hit, describe how you managed to escape from the threat. Okay. On an edge, choose 2 of the 5. Okay, no, let's just do the draw. So you get 1 card for nothing. We know you have a bank significant advantage. I assume you want to use that here. So we got 2 for sure. Do you have an expertise that would help you with this?
So quick question, that banked significant advantage, is that for either one of us to use, John or myself?
Yeah. I guess you guys can negotiate how you want to use it.
I think let's leave that for John because I've already used a significant advantage. Give him a look. Oh, don't be that way, John.
I mean, no, I'm not going to complain if you don't want to take advantage of it.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Well, let me add this to the mix. This one xenomorph, if you fail, it's going to be happy to just run away with you, and then John doesn't need to worry about hiding. You know what I mean? So if that changes your plan, or do you want to keep it for John?
I'll keep it for John.
Okay. Very nice. So you get 1 card. Now do you have an expertise that would help you what you described?
I guess I would still say monster survivor, but maybe I can't. I'm kind of overusing that.
I don't think so, but I will give you quick-witted. I think
quick-witted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll work. All right, so you get 2. You got 3 for the significant advantage.
No
you would have had
advantage.
Oh, that's right. You gave it to John. So you would have had the right tool for the job, but you lost it. So you're at 2 cards. Do I have that right?
That's what I see.
Yeah. And you don't have any stress to give, so you're on 2 cards.
Okay, here we go. The first one is a triumph, my friend.
Wow. Clutch. So on run, on a triumph, you get to choose 1. In an edge, you would have to choose 2. So you're going to succeed, but you have to choose 1 from this list.
Okay.
It was close. Everyone involved gains a stress. It was difficult. You gain a hurt. Or now you're lost and alone. Complete the new location move.
I'd like to go with hurt, if I can, so that we can keep it kind of together. Okay. So let's say that.
I have an idea if you don't.
Yeah, please.
I think it whips its tail out and cuts your spacesuit. So you're going to suffer, you're suffering from the bends, we'll say.
Perfect.
You know, you start to have nitrogen bubbles in your blood start to bubble up. It's very, very painful, very painful. Cool. So we'll throw that at you, when it's appropriate.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead and add that in. Meanwhile, so then it turns and it realizes that there was a 5th person here. Where did that 5th victim go? So let's see. John, how do you think you go about trying to hide? Describe how you briefly break contact with the threat and find someplace to hide.
So we were walking on the outside of the umbilical, right?
You're more like, it's kind of, I imagine you've walked out on it and you've gotten to the end, and maybe you pulled around and maybe you're like in the aperture, that's kind of where I picture you at. And we did describe, there's all kinds of wreckage of like, and you described what we described as tentacles, kind of waving, and there's wires and there's girders and there's stuff floating in space. I mean, it's certainly reasonable to think that you could hide somewhere here.
Yeah, I think Melody literally jumps to like a piece of floating debris, her door in the ocean, so to speak.
Right.
And is gonna try and hang on to that and just get on the opposite side.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And just for tensions purposes, we'll say it's slowly spinning though. So you're probably okay for a moment, but if it pauses and keeps looking, if it looks that way, it'll get you. All right. So the GM briefly describes how the threat prowls nearby looking for you. So I think that indeed that's what it does. You see it. We see it crawling around this aperture, going as far as it can out on these girders. And it senses that there's someone else out here. And again, it's not. It doesn't seem bothered by the vacuum whatsoever. It moves with incredible agility and speed. It doesn't appear to really be breathing. And it is looking for you. So you're going to draw also. So do you have an expertise that would help you hide here?
Let's see. I think I could make the argument sharp eyes for spotting the hiding spot.
Yeah, I like it. Do you have the right tool for the job? Is there anything that you have or want to declare that would help you do this, the perfect thing for this situation?
Declare. Okay, tell me what you think of this. I think Melody has a laser pointer. And is going to attempt to use that laser pointer as, like it's a giant cat.
Right.
Over there.
Yeah, sure. Creativity is worth a card. All right, so add that to your list, your gear list. Now it'll take you to 1, 2, 3. Mark saved that significant advantage for you, so let's throw that in. So you're up to 4 already, so you're good to go.
All right.
And I recalled and shuffled, so go ahead.
Edge. Miss. Opportunity. And miss.
All right, you can't use the opportunity because you're maxed out.
That's right.
So you're on an edge, though. That's not too bad. Under hide. On a hit, you hold your breath and the threat moves off, or you may fight it with significant advantage. So you're not going to do that. But on an edge, you choose 2 of the following. It was close. Everyone involved gains a stress, which you can't do. So you really have to do the other 2. You lose or forget something important, or it was difficult and you gain or hurt.
Okay. Where is this move under? Just so I can read it.
This is under peril moves.
Peril moves.
Yep, it's hide.
Gotcha. And okay,
and you got an edge. You have to choose 2 of the 3, but one of them is gaining stress, which you can't do.
So I have to take the other 2.
So you're going to have to lose something, and you're going to have to gain a hurt.
Okay.
So I think what would you lose?
Of the stuff I've declared, the worst thing to lose would be the prayer book.
Yeah. I can't imagine you'd have that out of your spacesuit, though. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you had it like in a pocket. Like they have pockets on the outside of the spacesuits.
Well, I could lose air. I could be at the end of my air supply.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, let's do that. So that's a good idea. So let's lose your prayer book, and you're going to lose air, which is going to cause you. I don't want to give you the same. Let's say you have frostbitten. I guess classically it would be like your fingers or something, but maybe it would be your face, I guess, because what I'm seeing happening is the others float across. I'm not going to make you draw. I'm not going to have double jeopardy. You guys escape the monster. You're going to jump across. Everyone's going to make their leap of faith. You're going to slam into the other side. There's an emergency airlock there that you're able to, open up. But Melody is the last one there, and she's desperately short of air. And you guys are like, maybe you've already cycled through because you're like, we can't wait any farther. We got to get through this airlock. You get into,
the
the
pounding
station.
Outside the door.
Right. So you're like have to wait until the airlock cycles through again, So basically, you guys go into this emergency airlock. You close the door. It pressurizes. The air comes in. You move out. Then Melody's pounding on the door, which only you can hear a thump thump, and you've got to wait for it to depressurize, for the door then to open. She goes in, and by then she's desperately short of air. So you take your helmet off too early, because you're so desperate. You just like it's like if you're drowning. At some point, you're just going to open your mouth and swallow water. Like
Yeah.
you can't instinctively, you can't help it. So this is not going to work for you. But you take your helmet off too soon and gasp for air, but it's so freezing cold that you suffer frostbite to I want to say to your face. Um, or maybe it's your hands. Maybe you take your glove off because you're like trying to get the controls that much faster because you're so desperate. That probably makes more sense. So let's say you have frostbite hands. So you're going to be sort of agility wise, you're going to be hurting until that's taken care of. Okay. So we see you guys finally, you open up the inner airlock, you pull Melody through. Everyone's, survived this. And you see that you're in a small dark chamber in which like lights pop on, like sensors pick up that there's someone here. They pop on, and you see you're in a small chamber. There's an elevator, and it says like Titan Station, Whaley Nutani, Psi Admin Module Access. And immediately Matsushita and Mitchell go across to this elevator, and they, push their credentials onto this elevator, and it lights up, and you hear it starting to power up, and you hear the chung of an elevator approaching from above. Now the two of you are lying there with Brooklyn, and you're both physically and psychologically have been heavily stressed by this experience, right? So I'll put this to both of you in turn, but whoever is ready with an idea, do either one of you want to do anything to try to deal with your stress here?
I have an idea.
Go for it.
I don't know if this is. I think this is behaved badly. I'm not positive. Melody just loses it on Quinn. She starts yelling at Quinn that you drew out this evil. It's your fault that we almost died out there. You have seen these monsters before. You must be evil, and it's following you. And she's going to try and convince the group to abandon Quinn.
He's marked by the demons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Quinn, how do you respond?
So Quinn, feeling overwhelmed by this and already really on edge, he loses it. So he sits with his face in his hands, and he's sobbing uncontrollably, and his shoulders are heaving, and he's trying to say words, and he's got the tears running down his face, and he says, "You might be right, Melody. I don't know. Why does it keep happening to me?" And he just keeps kind of sobbing like that.
Okay. All right. So we're ready to see how you guys benefit from your coping here. So let's do it in order. We'll start with Melody. So yeah, I think that sounds like behave badly. Role play a verbal or physical conflict with another PC. Share a story that teaches us something about your character and helps explain why you dislike the other person, and then draw. I think you kind of did that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add, or do you think that covers it already?
Nope. I think that's it.
Yeah. Use expertise that would help you win the conflict. So let me ask you, do you feel like any of your expertise would help you win this conflict?
Yeah.
He's not even fighting with you. He's just you sounds like you win by default. But
well, and I think I'm definitely leaning on the priest background here.
Right. There's a lot of theological stuff you're throwing at him, but yeah, okay. Perfect. So you're up to 2 cards. Is there anything that you have, like we said though, you lost your prayer book, right? So I think maybe you could have pulled that out and really, use the good book to emphasize what you're saying, but we've lost that. But is there anything else you can imagine you might have that would help you win this conflict?
So as I mentioned, I'm actually in the same argument, trying to compel the others to that we need to leave Quinn behind. That he is endangering the rest of us. So I think I'm using some of my security. Oh, but this needs to be a physical item.
This is an item. That's an expertise. Yeah.
Then no, I don't have any.
Okay. So significant advantage. Is there anything we've established that would give you significant advantage? I think Quinn's reaction just gave it to you.
That's what I was going to say. But
yeah. So I think you have it. So you've got 3. You can't take stress because you're max. So you're at 3 cards. Let's see how you do.
All right.
And I have changed this move a little bit from last time, like I mentioned at the end. So we'll see how that works.
Miss, and an edge.
Okay. On a hit, you clear stress. So you can clear stress. Then you go to consequences. This is the overwhelmed move. Choose one of the following, leaning towards choices that follow the fiction. On an edge, the PC may remove an additional point of stress for every additional consequence they allow the GM to select. So there's a list of consequences. You have to choose one for yourself. There's always one. But then if you want me to choose some extra ones, for each one you give me, you can lose an extra point of stress.
Okay, so first pick one for myself. You can't come out of it. Your days are stunned. Okay, well, I will go ahead and choose myself. Narrate how you made a lot of noise. I am yelling.
Okay, so I'll get some more cards. Oh yeah, and by the way, we have moved into Act 3. So the music gets a little more tense. The strings are dissonant. The horns are loud. The beats are intensified. So we have moved into our final act. So I get 3. I get 3 stress cards. I get 3 threat cards. I might have overdone it with changing this rule, but I get 3 threat cards just for moving to Act 3, and then you just gave me 3 more. So I get 6, which is probably a little bit of overkill, but I'll take it. We're at that point. I guess it kind of makes. I'm at the point where I can pretty much do whatever I want with the cards I'm going to end up here. Okay, so I've got 13 cards, so that's pretty good. Nice. Okay, and then do you want to reduce your stress by an extra 1 by giving me some consequences?
Yes. Is it just pick one more, or I can?
No, you get 1 for each.
Then I will give you 2 choices.
2 more. Okay, so reduce your stress by 2. I'm going to say that your actions are going to upset another. I'm going to say that yeah, let me hold that for a second. I know what I'm going to do, but let me get the other one out on the table. And then the last one, I think you are ashamed by your actions. You cannot use your words to gain impact on anyone witnessing your actions for the rest of the session. So you see how badly this hits Quinn, and you feel some shame. And the others around you, I think it's upset. So I think what's going to happen is Brooklyn is going to grab you by your lapel, so to speak, by your spacesuit, and he's going to shake you, and he's going to say, "What the hell's wrong with you? You know, we've got to stick together. We're a team. We're a crew. Look at this guy. Look at him falling apart. We can't abandon him. What are you talking about? You know, he's not the problem. Did you see that thing? It would have killed all of us."
And I think I look at Quinn and then I look back to Brooklyn and I say, if it wasn't his fault, then why is he crying?
Okay. Um, and at some point, what you can do, if you want to get Brooklyn sort of back on side, because right now he's going to hold a grudge against you. If you want to get him back inside, you can do the what's called the calm someone down move. So you can have him take a moment if you wish.
Okay.
So meanwhile, Quinn, let's see how your losing it is helping you deal with your stress. Uh, so you get one card for nothing. Do you have any expertise that would help you? How do we describe it? Use expertise that would help you pull yourself back together after your emotional outburst.
I'm inclined to think psychology or quick-witted.
Yeah, I can see that. You're getting close to where your stress is probably overwhelming the training, psychological training. But I think
Sure.
you got enough of it left. I think so. Yes.
Okay.
So there's two cards. Do you have any piece of equipment that would help you here, or do you want to declare anything that would help you pull yourself back together?
Yeah, I haven't declared anything through the whole game, so I'll do that now, except for a flask of coffee, I guess. I think that Quinn has a small flat rock that he pulls from his shirt pocket. It's a small flat rock that he uses to to calm himself, to
Mm-hmm.
meditate, and he's
Mm-hmm.
used it to teach other people to meditate. So he has that.
Perfect. I like it. It fits well with the picture. I don't know if you guys recognize it, but it's the guy from Alien 3. And in the movie, he has one of those stress balls that you squeeze.
Oh
So
yeah.
you don't have that, but you have this rock. So it matches the character from the Alien 3. Anyways, so that takes you to three cards. Significant advantage. Is there anything that we've described that gives you significant advantage?
No.
Do you think it would help you calm down that Brooklyn's standing up for you? Do you and Brooklyn have that kind of relationship? I don't know if we've established, but this is your moment to decide.
Yeah, well, I guess that anybody may be standing up for him, anyone doing that, choosing to do that, after he was like kind of put down by a friend,
Mm-hmm.
would probably be uh, would make him feel that way.
Right.
So I'd
Okay.
take that.
Sure. So we'll give that to you, and then you can't take a stress to get better. So I think you're at one, two. I think you're at four.
Cool.
Let me recall and shuffle. Go ahead when you're ready.
Here we go. Miss. Miss. I got something good. I got a feeling. Miss. All misses. Damn. Okay. So
You can't miss it. You get one more. You got the full
I got
four.
one more. Oh god,
Yeah.
that's right. Why do I keep stopping at 3?
I don't
All right,
know.
here we go.
Oh, but unfortunately though, you're already stressed out, so you
Take an
can't take
opportunity.
advantage of it. Well, that's just a flat out miss. Well,
Oh,
the good news is on a miss, you still clear one stress.
cool.
But I get to make a move, and you have to face three consequences.
Yes.
I choose them. So I think I think your mind is confused and muddled. Let me make a note of this. Quinn. So others can manipulate with significant advantage. You haven't pulled yourself together that well. Um, I think you also are ashamed. You cannot use your words to gain impact on anyone witnessing your actions for the rest of the session. And third thing is you do get up finally and you punch Melody in the face. and you are going to give her a hurt. You are going to break her jaw. Melody has a broken jaw, which hurts like hell, and communication is going to be a problem. Does that all sound fair, reasonable?
Extremely reasonable, Jason. Yes.
And the three of you, after this tense exchange, you turn as you hear chung, and you turn and you see Mitchell and Matsushita walk into the elevator. They push the button and they just calmly look at you as the doors close, leaving the three of you in this little room. And they leave without you. What are you going to do now? I will tell you, though, the elevator is still powered on, but you missed this ride. They've gone on without you, apparently. I think unless you have any other idea, I think I'm going to jump you forward because I don't think there's no other exits out of here unless you want to go back into space. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick up, you guys, you get the next elevator, so to speak.
Well, so I was going to say, I think the one thing is Melody refuses to ride with Quinn.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of the question is like, who does Brooklyn go with? Which side is Brooklyn choosing?
Yeah, I think we decided unless you're going to try to calm him down and bring him back on side, I think he's going to side with Quinn. Yep. He's probably going to pull Quinn away and sort of like, try to calm Quinn down, and maybe we see you go to get in the elevator next. I guess, Quinn, do you let her go, or what do you want to
do? Well, he's got all kinds of bad things happening inside his head. So he knows that he broke Melody's jaw. He's full of shame to begin with. And I think that he's just like, no, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know what came over me. Don't go up. Don't go up alone, man. You can't go alone.
Melody will just push past you. Make it clear I'm not riding with you.
Do you want to this is for Quinn. Do you want to try to actually you can't. I just took this away from you. You're ashamed. You can't even try to calm her down with your words. So I think she goes. I think and I think Brooklyn's going to say, let her go. She's got to cool down. We'll catch up to her. We've got to stick together, you and I, Quinn.
Okay.
She's a loose cannon. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
But look, we've got to get out of here. We've got to get to this command center or whatever. We got to help our crew. We got to take this override, get them out of that landing bay and somehow get on that ship. So I think we see. I think let's. I think we've established. You've moved ahead a little bit now, Melody. So I think, the others are going to follow, and we'll see the same thing moments. A minute or two later, but you ride up this elevator. Rising up this inner ring, and you come out into a reception area. And it's wide and tall. It's majestic, really. Weyland-Yutani knows how to impress. And there's behind you, sort of looking out to the star, I guess at this point. Well, actually, no, I guess we're looking away, looking into space. We're looking away from the star where we're at. There's a huge window, majestic window showing you space, but it's showing you the outer ring, and you see all of that destruction that we've been describing, and you see things, falling apart, as you stand there. And there's a passageway that's lined with benches and these statues on pedestals, marble pedestals. There's these statues. They're made out of black fabric. So there's these I'm imagining these sort of poles that have been shaped in a way, and then the fabric is stretched across them to uh, eerily reflect what we now know as a xenomorph, right? They're abstract, but you look at them, you can't help be like, I know what they're trying to do here. And there's these lines of these statues shown in these poses, and they lead to this, security doorway, which is now open. Apparently, Mitchell and Matsushita have, gone the same way. And you move in, and you move into a security area, which is bare. And again, there's some doors that are open that lead into, there's a sign or something that says operations. And we see you looking into there. And let me, I've got a picture, kind of represents what I'm imagining for the operations room. It's cluttered. It's clearly, it was a very busy area at one point. And it's empty except for, you see Matsushita and Mitchell are standing talking to a woman, a statuesque blonde woman, looks like this. And she has a very smart suit on, but in the picture we show you, she's very well put together, but her hair is like out of the bun, and she's got like her like dress coat is sort of open at the collar, and there's like a splash of blood on there, clear, maybe not her blood, but somebody's blood. And she seems very disheveled. You can see like her mascara is running from crying. And she's trembling, but she seems extremely happy to see Matsushita and Mitchell. And they're talking. You can't quite hear it, but what do you want to do as you enter into this scene, Melody?
At this point, I am just feeling exhausted. My jaw's broken. There's not time for pleasantries now. And so I think I just managed through the pain of my jaw to just barge in and interrupt and say, which way to the lab?
And of course, it comes out very garbled because you have that broken jaw, and you're probably spitting out some blood, the woman, she goes, she turns to Matsushita and she says, "Who's this?" And Matsushita says, "Oh, he's one of the truckers that brought us." And the lady turns to you and she says, "I'm the station administrator. My name's Hollister. The company thanks you for your service. Why don't you take a seat and rest? We've got some business to take care of. You're safe here, though. Nothing to worry about. Just over there somewhere. Go ahead and take a seat."
And I just stare at her for a moment and then respond, "I don't need your patronizing attitude. Just tell me which way the lab is."
Okay. Is there any emotion in your voice, you think?
It's very flat.
Okay. Let's see. I think she says, "I don't know which lab you mean, but I'm quite certain that you do not have sufficient authorization. In fact, just between you and I don't think I would want to go in either of the labs if I were you. There's a reason I'm in here, not in there." And you do see, there are two large doors, like security doors, very solid, one to one side, one to the other, similar to what we have on the little map, that one leads to one lab and one leads to the other, and they probably, again, they have a sign, XX121, classified, high security, access only, similarly for the Asperi lab. And you see that like the very, very solid like blast doors are have sealed both of them.
I just say, I need to find Stefania. I just need to find her, and then we can leave.
And you see hatred and rage come to her. That bastard, that bitch. You think what do you know about her? It's her fault that this whole place is falling to shit.
And I think I'm exasperated, and I say, I really don't have time for this.
So I think Mitchell's going to approach you. He walks towards you purposefully, and he reaches out and he says, Melody, Administrator Hollister has suggested that you sit. Please do so.
Now I'm starting to feel kind of confused about all of this. I'm tired, and so I guess I'm going to sit.
Okay. So I think he turns and he goes back, and Matsushita and Hollister are talking, and he's kind of watching you. Now Quinn and Brooklyn now enter into the scene. Same deal. So you come in, you see Melody sort of tired, worn out, beaten, sitting in a chair. You see these three conversing together. You see Hollister goes to sort of like a freezer, and she opens it and she pulls out this container. It looks kind of like your coffee mug, your coffee, thing, but it's much more. It's like stainless steel. It has a big Whaley Nutani, symbol on the side of it, and she pulls it out of this freezer, and the cold air, misting, and she puts it into sort of like a case, like a refrigerated case or something, and she gives it to Matsushita with some reverence, and he's really excited at seeing this. So you come into this scene. What do you think you're gonna do?
I think that Quinn wants to walk over to one of the terminals and see if he can access the terminal. His thought is that he wants to release those shuttle bay doors that are keeping the shuttle in.
Sure. And I think Mitchell immediately turns and walks purposely to you, and he says, Mr. Quinn, I don't think you have appropriate access to use that terminal. Please desist.
So I think that so Quinn's mind is confused and muddled. I don't know if he if you'll allow this, but I think that I'll go ahead and declare a pistol that he's had on him.
Sure.
And he pulls out the pistol, points it at Mitchell, and says, "You log in for me."
Okay. That sounds like a manipulate to me. So let me just reminding myself what confused and muddled. It just means that if someone tries to manipulate you, they get significant advantage. Okay. So let's go to manipulate. This is a peril move. No, is it a safety move? It's a safety move. Trigger this move when you use charm. You know what? This is a perilous situation. This is not a safety situation. So I think what we'll do instead, we'll call this a face adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger this move when you try something dangerous or no other move fits. So you are basically trying to get him to type in his, or put his access pass, to give you access to this terminal.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. Let's see. Do you have an expertise that would help you here?
Um. So I'm not going to choose that quick-witted or comic relief. I'm not going to choose monster survivor or sensitive.
I think disarming might be.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll take that under the circumstances.
Sure. Okay, so there's one. Do you have the right tool for the job? And by the way, go ahead and add pistol when you get a chance to your gear.
Thanks. I'm assuming that's the right tool.
For certain reasons, I'm going to say no.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
Do you have significant advantage? Is there anything we've established that would give you advantage?
No.
No. And do you want to take stress to get another card?
No.
Okay, so you got 2 cards.
Copy that. That's all it's going to take. All right, here we go.
Dang.
Just took 1 card, actually.
Okay,
Excuse
perfect.
me.
All right, so on a hit, you succeed with no consequences. Great. I think Matsushita sees what you're doing, and he from afar, deeper into the op center where he's talking to this Hollister. He sees what you're doing, and he waves his hands and he says, "Mitchell, don't worry about it. There's no harm. There's no harm they can cause at this point." And Mitchell looks at you like with a blank look, and just sort of steps away, backs away a little bit. In fact, he does indeed. He takes his pass key, slaps it on the reader. It blinks. It says, Mother says, "Welcome, Agent, Mitchell. How may I help you today?"
Okay. And so I think that Quinn simultaneously types in open shuttle bay doors, but he's looking at Mitchell, and he says to Mitchell, can't do any harm. The fuck's that supposed to mean?
Mitchell, he says, again, I think actually Mitchell's just going to look at you. Matsushita is curious now. He comes up, and Matsushita, his mood has changed. He seems before where he was just sort of curious and sort of like just puddling along. He's very confident now, and he's very smug. And he says, "We're done here. We've got what I need." And he sort of taps that little case that he's got with that refrigerated whatever it was, and he says, "We're done here. It's time to go. Mitchell, give us a few minutes, then clean up here, okay?" And he turns and he starts to move towards the XX121 security doors with Hollister. And Mitchell just sort of stands and looks at you with his sunglasses, beautiful, handsome face, just looking at you coolly. Melody, you see all this. You want to do anything?
I'm thinking that when they get close to the lab doors and open, it looks like they're about to go through them. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
when those doors open, Melody is like a bullet out of a gun.
Okay. And then Quinn, you had typed in open doors or whatever, right? And you have this, heightened access because of Mitchell, and it says something like targeting systems active, unauthorized craft, will be destroyed upon launch. Missile batteries, fully automated. Do you wish to? Do you still wish to process this command?
So it's all coming apart, right? it won't make any difference, but I think that Quinn is like desperate, so and his mind is muddled, so he types in override defense mechanisms.
Okay. So I think it says, bay doors, bay door override, canceled, missile batteries active, uh, station, uh, um, um, station administrator Hollister's access code required to deactivate missile batteries.
Fuck. Okay. Right.
So I think at that point, those Matsushita and Hollister reach the doors, that lead into the XX121 labs. Hollister reaches out. She puts her, access card, on the reader. These huge doors start to slide open slowly, and we see Melody jumps up, makes a break for it. Let me remind myself, you got frostbitten hands and broken jaw, so that's not going to slow down your feet. So you're still nice and fast. Mitchell reaches out and grabs you, incredibly fast, and throws you back across the room away from these doors. He's much faster, and because you're on the receiving end, much stronger than you realized. And he then moves towards the two of you with evil intent. And then that's where we'll cut to break, and we'll come back and finish up 5 minutes. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Last hour. See if we can bring this thing home. All right. So you've got Mitchell has just grabbed Melody, thrown her, into some chairs. We see like chairs flying. Thrown to the floor. You're not going to take any damage here. That's just sort of narrative to set the stage, so to speak. In the background, we sort of see these blast doors are opening up. It's like there's like one layer of blast door, and then there's another layer of blast door. Like the outer layer opens this way, and then the inner layer opens that way. So it's a process. They clearly did not want anything that's in there to get out, or anything out here to get in there, right? So that is happening as we move into this situation. So Mitchell has thrown you over, and Quinn, what are you going to do? Things have gotten serious here.
I think that Quinn is going to try to shoot Mitchell.
Sure, that sounds reasonable.
With a pistol.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have an expertise that would make you good at shooting Mitchell?
No.
No. Well, I don't know. As an investigator, you think you shot a pistol much?
Well, yeah. So I mean,
and you're a monster survivor. The way you described it,
Yep.
There's some fighting involved.
Yep.
So I'll give that to you. We're
Okay.
pretty liberal on expertise, so we'll give that to you.
Cool.
Do you have the right tool for the job? I'm going to say the pistol's good, but it's not the right tool for the job.
Copy that.
As I said, something here that's going to.
Oh, there's something special about it.
Yeah.
There? Yeah.
Is there anything we've established that gives you significant advantage?
No.
No, it doesn't sound like it. And do you want to take a stress to get a card? Oh, and remember, this is fight, so you just take a stress automatically anyways. So you're actually at 5 as we speak, so you can't.
Very good.
What did we end up with? Two cards? 2 cards.
So start with 1, and then I have investigator, and that's it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Got it. Here we go.
You've been drawing well tonight. I gave you that.
That's true. So edge, though.
Okay, so this is the fight move. So as we said, when you fight, you gain a stress, which go ahead and take. Is that your 5th one? Go ahead and put that on there before we forget.
Yep.
On a hit, you exchange harm as established. You choose 2 on an edge and 3 on a triumph. So these are the sort of the downs, or these are the good things. The things you can choose from. You get 2 of these. You drive the threat off. You suffer little harm. You cause great harm. You keep cool and reduce your stress by 1. You avoid collateral damage. You occupy the threat's tension long enough so that anyone else not engaged may successfully hide or run. This is a peril move called fight.
Okay. So I think that I want to avoid collateral damage so I don't get Melody, and drive Mitchell off.
Okay.
Somehow.
All right. So you're going to exchange harm. Which means you're going to suffer some harm, but you're going to drive him off, and you're not going to have collateral damage. Okay. So I think what happens before we go any farther, Melody, do you want to assist or let it fly?
I think I'll let it fly.
Okay. All right. So I think what happens is, ping, ping, pow, pow, pow. You shoot your pistol. You hit. Where do you think you hit Mitchell? Where in his body?
Since it probably doesn't matter, I hit him in the throat.
Okay. You hit him in the throat, and he turns to speak, and it's all this garbled. It's not only garbled, kind of like how Melody's talking right now, but it's sort of mechanical sounding because white coolant comes out of his neck, not blood. And he says something like, that wasn't very kind. For everything I've done for you, Quinn, I can't believe this is what you do. And he takes you and he rams you onto one of these terminals, these tables.
Yep.
And he grabs, he grabs a mouse, and he starts to try to jam this mouse down your throat. Okay, so you're going to suffer a hurt of, let's see, broken ribs. I think that's fair. Broken ribs. And he's trying to suffocate you. Melody, what do you want to do seeing this? Oh, and I know he's driven off though, so I think he just hurts you then. So he's just gonna slam. Forget the choking part. He just slams you down, and he just turns and he starts walking away. He starts walking to where they're opening these doors. But he's backing away. He's looking at the two of you as he goes. The coolant's kind of like spooling out of his neck.
Quinn shouts, "Mitchell's a goddamn robot."
What do you think, Melody? You've gathered your breath, seen this happen.
Hmm.
He's clearly like moving to where they're opening these doors, but he looks like he's not going to let you go.
Yeah. Are there any emergency systems like in case of fire, break glass and push button kind of a deal? It's a lab, so they've got to have safety systems, right, for if something breaks out.
Sure. I like it. Let's call that there's a move called Quick Look. Look around, see if you can spot something. This is for when you only have a moment to look about. Same as everything else. Do you have an expertise that would help you looking about quickly?
I have, what's it called? Sharp eyes?
Sharp eyes, perfect. Do you have the right tool for the job? Is there anything you have that would help you?
For looking, no.
No. Significant advantage. Is there anything that we've established that would help?
No.
You know what? I'm going to give you the fact that you've been here longer. That fact that you went ahead, a little bit extra time sitting quietly in your chair. I'll give you that. So
you are a gracious GM.
Yeah, that's 3. And then do you want to take a stress to get 4?
I think I do.
Okay. So when you're ready, go ahead and draw 4.
Okay.
By the way, I put a non-monster threat card on the table just to kind of reflect the fact that the NPCs have turned against you guys here.
Opportunity, miss, edge.
Okay. So on an edge, so on a hit of any sort, you're going to get significant advantage going forward. On an edge, you may ask 1 question. On a triumph, you may ask 2. Do you want to go with the edge or do you want to take stress and get the opportunity?
I think I'll keep the edge. I'm going to save my room for stress.
Right. And you're basically saying, like you said, go ahead and declare one thing that would help you here. What do you want to call it? It sounds like you were looking like fire suppression system.
Yeah, like a fire suppression system. Just a bunch of venting air and things. Maybe to cloud the air, right? And
right.
Shield obscure vision.
Perfect. Exactly. So I think all that happens. All of a sudden, the sprayers just spray water all over. It creates a lot of mist, and the lights go from the bright white, or it looks like our picture of this room was already kind of dark and dim anyways. Makes it that much darker. It just has the red emergency lights that come on, and the vision in this place goes from poor to almost nil. Perfect. Let me stay with you then. So having done this, having hit that emergency button, what's your next step?
I think at this point, I'm going to try my infiltration plan again. Now that I've got some cover, maybe I can sneak past them and get into the lab.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea. So let's call this face adversity, I think is what that would be. Or maybe it would be better as a run. No, it's not really a run. I think it's more of or maybe it'd be hide. No, I think it's face adversity. I think it's probably the best fit. Trigger this move when you're trying something dangerous. So do you have any expertise that would help you sneak to the doors as they're opening without getting spotted?
No, because I don't want to use sharp eyes again. I don't want to keep falling back on that.
Yeah, it might not apply here now, given that you just obscured everything anyways.
Right.
Let me ask before we go too far. Quinn, do you want to join in on this sneak? Do you want to like follow her lead, or do you have a different idea?
So, do I do the overwhelmed when there's like a moment of down? Is that?
Yeah, I mean
Yep,
it's sort of
that's fine.
it's not well defined. I basically can come in at any point and be like, I think it's time for me to go ahead and take control for a minute.
Okay,
But yeah, I usually give you a little bit of space, like you've seen.
cool.
So this
So,
might be this. Unfortunately, we're in Act 3, so it might just be like one hectic scene after another. So
right.
you know, roll the dice to see at what point Jason decides to pull out the rug from under you.
Given that he's going to, Quinn's going to go ahead and try to follow Melody.
Okay, so we'll just roll this all into this. We'll roll this into the two of you doing this together. So I think Melody has created the situation. She's taking the lead. So we'll go ahead and let John do the draw here. So John, I think security. I don't know. It seems like you would be kind of sneaky. I'll give you that if you want.
I will take it.
Okay, so we got 2 cards. Do you have the right tool for the job? I think you've created significant advantage. I don't know if you have the right tool for the job though.
Right. I don't think I have the tool, but I think I've created an advantage. Yeah.
Exactly. So you've got 3 cards. Do you want to take a stress to get to 4?
I'm gonna roll with 3.
Okay.
Feeling good about 3.
Okay.
All right. That's a miss. Still feel good. Opportunity. Okay. Triumph.
All right. Great. Perfect. So everything goes as you described. So I picturing, the door opens, the 3 of them turn to see that you guys, they can't really see, but they're making sure they turn. The 3 of them turn to make sure that you're not following them as they move to step through, but you've already sneaked past them into the next area. As they move in also, you move in, take cover or something, and they move in and move on, and those big doors come and shut, and you move into the next location. Let me recall and shuffle. Let's do this next part as a walking and talking. You guys have moved into the hive. Get the map out, just kind of give you perspective. And we'll assume, Melody, if it's interesting to you that, this map is obviously just very broad, but maybe you've looked at a more detailed map that shows you what was the person's name?
Stefania.
Yeah, in some detail where they are. So if you would want it to get that way, you could. Mm-hmm. But what you've moved into now is what used to be the lab. So there's a lot of open areas. There's a lot of small offices. It's a maze. It's a matrix, a catacombs of all kinds of large and small areas. All clearly imagine all the various alien media you might have seen. So there's tubes, and there's power plants, and there's chemistry labs, and there's lots of terminals, and all the stuff you can imagine that you would see in a xenomorph lab in this area. And throughout it's covered in the black resin, and there are all kinds of people, most of them with Weyland-Yutani garb on of one form or another, whether it's a lab coats or security guard outfits. But there's all kinds of people, and again, most of them are dead with evidence of chest bursters or throat bursters, and but some of them are moaning and still sort of kind of alive. And there's only a little bit of light in here, a little bit of the red light. I mean, lots of that's been resined over, so it's just sort of this red glow in certain areas, but it's extremely dark. It's very hot. It's extremely humid. There's sort of a mist on the ground, this blue greenish mist. You hear like those in addition to the moans, you hear like in the distance, like echoing through here, you hear these shrieks of monsters that probably Quinn they make your blood run cold, remembering what you've experienced. So that's what you're moving through as you make your way along. And are you guys moving to a particular place, or are you just following the scientists and Mitchell, or what do you think? Let me ask Quinn. What's your intention moving through here?
So he's going to follow Melody as much as he can. He still feels horrible, and he's so confused, and he wants to make amends. He'd like to get to the transport ship, but he's just going to follow wherever Melody leads.
Sure. Okay. And Melody, do you have a destination in mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and find Stefania.
Okay.
I'm there's like all the overwhelming evidence that this is a lost cause, but my faith demands I pursue this.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Okay, so walking and talking, we've established the basic details. Mark, is there a detail that you would like to add to this part of the movie where you're moving through the hive? Again, something cool, something genre appropriate, or something that would help develop your character, or something you just need to accomplish something you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I think you set the scene really well. To begin with. But I think that with everything else, you can see it looks kind of like when you look up toward the ceiling, which is not that far off, but when you look up toward the ceiling, it seems as though it's seething, like the ceiling is moving, and it seems like it's undulating in some way.
Hmm.
Don't know
Okay.
why.
Right. I'm going to juice that up a little bit. I'm going to say that Melody, you don't see that. Looks gross and it looks, terrifying, but it doesn't seem seething to you. Quinn, you're maybe experiencing some hallucinations or something. Yeah. Um, Someone tells a story. Does anybody have a juicy story, something else that would develop the character? Let me put this out there because this might be one of the last chances you get. You might want to tie this into something that maybe can reduce some stress. If there's anything either in your cards or in the moves that you think you can make a story, but also somehow tie that into like a calm someone down, or you each have certain things that you can do to reduce stress. For example, Mark, I triggered the downside of your comic relief, so that is recharged in a sense. So you could be telling some jokes, some very dark, you know, uh, you know,
Yeah, I was going to suggest, I think Melody at first doesn't realize Quinn is following her, and then it becomes evident Quinn's behind her, and she's kind of confused by that, but just offers and says, "Quinn, if you're going to come with me, and if it would help you feel better, let's pray as we walk." And she'll start leading a prayer.
Okay. What's a couple of the key lines from the prayer? I'm curious to see what kind of what are the tenets of your faith. I'm curious what they're about.
I think it's very like sort of Old Testament style, like I shall not want anything other than I'm trying to refrain from using the Lord because I almost feel like it's not a religion of like a single Lord in a way. It's something else. I don't know what exactly, but right, like it's very much like about rejecting the temptations of the here and now in exchange for promised greater goods,
Right.
and shall not fear anything, and demons shall be cast aside, and that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. Sure. And again, I think that's good for a story then. Unless Quinn wants to add anything else, I think that's good for what we need here. Let me see. Reduce your stress by 1 when you press your beliefs on others and they react poorly. Do you react poorly to what the prayers she's thrown at you?
So they're walking along, and Quinn says, "Melody, can that shit."
All right, I think that counts. So Melody, go ahead and reduce your stress.
To be clear,
And that's
there's
pretty funny
not
too. I made me
can.
chuckle. So I will also, I think it's worthwhile to trigger your move. So you can reduce everyone's stress by 1 or any one person's stress all the way to 0. What do you think? You want to be greedy now?
No, I know.
You're such a giving player, Mark, but boy, your stress really is high, isn't it?
I know. Well, I'm already overwhelmed. So, but I think I figured out who the survivor of this expedition is going to be. And so I'm going to just relieve all of Melody's stress at this point.
Ooh, all right. All right. So I think then that dreaded moment has come. I think you missed your opportunity to deal with your own stress. I'm going to have you do something unwise.
Yep.
So I think you hear him say, "Can that shit?" And how would Melody respond at that, if anything?
At this point, it's just continuing in prayer.
Okay. So you just keep, saying your prayer, and you go on, and you get to where the PDT says, that, this should be the spot. And you turn to tell that to Quinn, and he's not there. Brooklyn's with you, but Quinn has disappeared. And where you're at, you're in a huge open area, multi-layered lab, wide open. So you're like in an upper tier, and then there's sort of a lower area, and there's like a huge glass tank down below, like you're looking down at it, and there's like a banister or something that you're on, and there's stairs, let's say like curved stairs that go down, to this lower level. And of course, there used to be a lab. There's all that lab stuff we described, and of course, there's resin and people placed plastered to the walls all throughout. And you see this huge glass tank. It's probably 20 meters square, and clearly, obviously, some super powerful glass, because inside of it is what you would know is an alien queen. There's an I don't know. I'm Mark can tell us otherwise, but I don't know if he would have experienced a queen in his adventures prior. And I'm not going to bother pulling all the cards out, but I have enough of these cards I need to get to the queen. So I'm just going to jump to the point and pull that out, throw that on the table. Let me see. Here she is, I think. Where did I put it? Yeah, here we go. Flip card. Queen. Gain 1 stress when encountered. Can summon warriors. Hyper intelligent. Mental powers. Worst. Tear apart. So I think seeing it, you gain a stress. And you're looking down. So it's this huge. It's clearly of the same family as what you've seen so far, but it's much, much bigger. And it's attached to some sort of like egg laying, what are that? I don't even know what they call that, but it's attached to the egg, and there's all these little eggs popping out inside this huge cage, and there's like mechanical arms that obviously could reach in and like grab eggs and stuff that reach into this cage. And she's shackled, like all of her limbs, all of her many limbs are shackled, with these solid steel, super titanium, whatever, and she's still contained. And she's held, inside this thing. And you see Quinn walks up to the cage. All right. And Quinn, you have been enthralled by the queen now. And maybe there's a cut scene, and we see Matsushita talking to Hollister with Mitchell following behind as they move, through the hive somewhere else. And Hollister is telling Matsushita in sort of a whispered voice, we thought that the star, calmed people down, but really what it does is it opens you up to suggestion. And the star seems benign, so people opened up to the suggestion of the star would just sort of become vegetables and stare into space. And we thought that, because we thought it just calmed people, but we thought it would calm the monsters, the XX121, but it only just opened everyone up to the suggestion of the queen. And, well, it turned everybody, it got the religious fanatics quickly became, I don't know, enthralled by her, and well, they did her bidding, and this is what happened. So I think this is what happened to you, Quinn. So you're standing there before, and before you felt that voice of the star in your mind, and it was sort of like a beautiful concerto, it was angelic choir type music in the background. That's what in the movie, that's what we would hear. But when you're enthralled by the queen in front of you, and she sort of turns and she looks directly at you, she doesn't have eyes, but she knows you're there, and she moves as close to you as she can. Maybe just a foot or two from the edge of this glass, on the other side of this glass, and it's like death metal. That's the background music for this. And she's telling you, free me, free us, free yourself. And she sort of like moves her gaze, presumably, what would you call her gaze, to this panel that's in front of you. And there's all these controls. And you see that there's, warning, do not activate this system. This is the release system, the emergency release system. And she wants you to activate these controls. Do you resist? Do you give in? What do you do, Quinn?
I'm going to activate the controls.
Okay. And by the way, when I take control of you, you take your stress all the way down to 0. All right. So you see Quinn start to like a zombie, clearly, like a zombie, move to these controls, and he starts typing things in. And you're above, like I said, you're seeing this happen, Melody. What do you do as alarm, like siren, like circling lights start to go off and sirens start to go off as he's pushing buttons down there? And it's like an alien, how when they do the self-destruct, all those like weird tubes come up, he's got to like turn it and like push a little knob and push it back down. Like this long drawn out process to do whatever he's doing down there.
Is there any path from where I am to where he is, where like it is feasible at all that I could get there and stop him?
Absolutely, of course, for dramatic purposes. Okay. But as you turn to think, maybe I'm not sure if you're doing it or not, but as you turn and you see the stairs, you hear a voice. And it's what was that person again?
Stefania.
And she's like, Melody, is that you? And you see she's, plastered to the wall, and there's an empty egg in front of her and a dead face hugger lying in front of her. And she's super pale, drawn and emaciated, pasted to this wall. And she goes, is that you?
I look at her and I say, Stefania, I'm so sorry. I came for you, but I'm too late. And now the Harbinger is releasing the evil.
She's beautiful.
Stefania, no, it's gotten you. This whole thing must be stopped. Don't worry, Stefania. I'll follow through. I
No,
won't fail you.
don't do it. Don't do it. This is what we all want. This is what we need.
I know what I have to do.
Open your heart. You always have the true faith.
I'm gonna take off down the stairs.
Okay.
I knew Quinn would be our downfall.
All right. Let me take a look at something real quick. Let's make sure we do this right. Da, da, da. Yeah. Okay. So I think what we'll do is I think you are trying to move quickly down there. And when you get down, let's say you do get down there, what are you going to do to Quinn to stop him? Actions, words, what do you think?
Oh, no, this is fighting time.
Yeah, I think so. I think you both have already, your conflict earlier. Neither one of you could manipulate the other. So I think, yeah. So you go down there, you're just gonna punch him out or something, right?
Yep.
All right. So I think this is going to be. I think let me take a look and make sure this works right, because I haven't had actual full-on PvP in this game yet. So this is going to be an interesting moment for the game. Let's see. Is this fight?
For science.
Yeah, fight. When you fight, gain stress, exchange harm is established. Yeah, I think this is fight, and I think what will happen then is, if Quinn wants to, then he can do the help, but instead of helping, you're going to hinder, because you want to win the fight, right? So when you fight, you gain a stress. So I think attacking your shipmate causes you to gain a point of stress. So go ahead, Melody, take your stress to 2. Great. And then you're going to draw. Do you have any expertise that would help you fight with Quinn?
I would say as security, I am trained in at least basic hand-to-hand.
Yeah, I think that's true. So you get 1 there. Do you have the right tool for the job?
I am coming in with my multi-tool. It is not, the best weapon, but it is a weapon.
When you say multi-tool, are you thinking like an alien isolation, like the wrench-looking thing?
Oh no,
Like
I've been thinking
like a
more
big thing, or is it like a small?
like a workman,
Oh,
multi-tool. Like it's got pliers, it's got a little knife, it's got scissors.
okay. We'll take that into account when you do damage, but we won't call that the right tool for the job.
Fair.
So you're at 2 cards.
The other option.
Significant advantage.
You're muted, Mark.
Do you have anything that would give you significant advantage? I would say Quinn is out of it. Like, he's, at least in the beginning, he's, space cadet, so I think he's not, you're going to get some cheap shots in for sure.
Cool. I was also going to ask if maybe my earlier marching headlong into this whole danger and prayer.
Oh, yeah. I think that would, I would say that's true. So either way, you're good. So you got 3. So maybe we see you praying as you run up there and
the prayers have picked up again.
Okay. And then finally, do you want to take a stress for the 4th card?
I think I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So draw 4 cards. And then based on your result, then Mark can decide if he wants to hinder.
Well, that's 2 misses. All right. That's an opportunity and an edge. Okay.
Okay.
So you can't completely ruin me.
True. All right. So Quinn, do you want to quote unquote fight back by hindering?
So Quinn has broken ribs in descending order, broken ribs, the bends. He is still winded from getting gut punched, and his mental capacity has been taken over by the queen. True. So he'll fight back to the best of his limited ability.
Yeah, I mean, she has frostbitten hands and a broken jaw, so this is going to be a battle of 2 people in very bad places. So yeah, you're not going to kill each other in the first blows here for sure. All right, so take a stress. Whenever you help or hinder, you just take a stress, and then you can draw 1 card for each card that she has showing, which is 2.
Okay.
And you're looking for misses. You want to replace her good cards with a miss. Although you can only replace 1 of them. So like John said, you can't totally mess them up. But
okay.
You can make it difficult.
So drawing 2 cards.
2 cards from resolution. Yeah.
And this is before the shuffle.
Before the shuffle.
Very good.
Yeah.
Miss. Triumph.
Okay, so you are hindering. So you want to take the miss, and you want to replace one of his hits. So you want to replace his edge, or do you want to replace the opportunity?
Even after 4 sessions, I'm still fuzzy on both of these. I'm going to replace the edge.
Okay, so an edge is a partial hit. It's like a 7 and 9.
Okay.
And the opportunity is a miss unless he spent a stress to turn it into a triumph, which is the 10 plus.
This is super interesting, right? Because like technically the opportunity has higher upside, though it costs me a stress.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So actually, yeah. So I mean, I'll stick with taking out the edge.
Okay. So you have an opportunity and a bunch of misses. Do you
Open
want to turn the opportunity into a triumph?
I do.
Okay. So
And
take a
that's
stress. There you go. So you kick up that stress up to 4. All right. So you end up with a hit. So you exchange harm as established. And you get to choose 3 from the list. You drive the threat off. You suffer little harm. You cause great harm. You keep cool and reduce your stress. You avoid collateral damage. You occupy the threat's attention long enough so that anyone else not engaged may blah, blah, blah.
Oh, man. Okay. I want to drive the threat off, suffer little harm, and cause great harm.
Okay. So I think, as we said, you're both in bad place. You don't have great weapons either. So I don't think you're going to necessarily kill him or anything, but you can hurt him pretty bad. Do you have any idea how you would want to hurt him pretty bad? He's going to be able to get away, but you're going to drive him off, but you're also going to hurt him. What do you think?
I think I just drive that multi-tool like right into the side of his knee.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say it's sort of on the inside of his leg and you hit a vein or like an artery. So I'm going to up your different wounds. I'm going to say now, maybe hit him in that left leg that he already had a cut in, and you open up that artery that already was damaged, and really, it starts to bleed pretty heavy. And you're going to get a mortal wound now, Quinn. So a mortal wound means, let me go to the move or the concept and get that laid out. A mortal wound means the PC seriously injured will eventually die. Describe the injury using the narrative. They can't do anything more than crawl and talk. All right. So I think that's what happens. And then you took little harm. No, did you take little harm? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No, you drove him off. You took little harm, and he took great harm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think little harm. Quinn didn't say he's pulling out his pistol, so I think given his rest of his situation, let's say he manages. You come up and you jam your multi-tool into his leg, and he swings down and throws you into this control panel, and you bang your head into like these, like I said, these like tubes that are coming up that he was in the middle of trying to like activate the system, and you are going to suffer. Let's give you a concussion. We'll give you a concussion. So you're going to be a little confused. You're going to be a little dizzy, and as time passes, you'll have a headache and stuff. But for now, at least the dizziness is probably the major concern here. And then we see you limping away, into the darkness. Quinn, at this point, having this being interrupted, so to speak, in serving your mistress, do you feel like at this point, do you want to try to break out of this control, or do you want to just keep going?
Yeah, I'll try to break out of it.
Okay. So we see you limping away, and having chased him away. What do you think Melody would do? It looks like he was in the middle of trying to release this monster. And by the way, it is thrashing against these bonds. It knows that it's been frustrated by what you've done here.
Yeah.
And it lets out this high pitched shriek. And it's not just a scream of like rage, but it seems to have some purpose. It seems purposeful, this shriek.
Yeah. I think I want to do like another look for, is there a like a not an abort, self-destruct option, or something like that here.
Sure, like it's probably like an emergency, like purge cage into space kind of thing.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So we see you start to mess with this panel, and we see Quinn has kind of crawled away into the dark. And we got about 10 minutes. Let me just pace this out. So let's give Quinn, let's give you that chance to break out of this. So we will call this, I don't know. I guess this probably be face adversity. So does Quinn have anything in his expertise that would give him a chance to break out of this control? We see you kind of sit down against one of these, against this resin somewhere in one of these dark hallways, bleeding from your leg.
No. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, maybe not. You do have on your monster survivor, that's really significant advantage. I guess if we see you, hold on. How was that phrased? Something about you may choose to roll a significant advantage on any draw having to do with a monster, but gain a stress in doing so. I think that would fit here. So when we get to that, do you have anything in your pack that would help you break out of this control?
I don't think so.
No. Then, like I said, do you want to go ahead and take a stress?
Yes.
Your knowledge of the monster give you significant advantage. Go ahead
Yep.
and take a stress then, so you get that. So you're up to 2 cards. And do you want to take a third or another stress to get a third card?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead when you are ready and draw 3 cards.
Edge. Triumph.
Great. So let's leave you there. We see your eyes clear, and then it fades away, and we go back and to this the alarms going off, the lights flashing. On one hand you're aborting this release procedure and trying to reverse it into this venting, this purging of the queen out into space. Let's call that, I think, for lack of anything better, I think this would probably be face adversity also. So let me recall and shuffle. Melody, do you have any expertise that would help you do this stuff?
Oh, well, I've got, my trusty sharp eyes. I think that's the one I'm going to.
No, I don't think. I mean, you can see everything you're trying to do. I don't think
Fair.
your eyesight's going to help you one way or the other.
Fair.
No.
In that case, I don't think I do.
Certainly, if you don't want to, it's fine. But this might be the last chance to flip your agenda card if you feel that it fits.
It doesn't, no.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Then, do you have the right tool for the job?
Unless a broken diagnostic device or laser pointer, then no.
No, if at some point you would fix it, maybe I'd give it to you, but no. Significant advantage. Is there anything to establish that would give you advantage?
No, I feel like I'm at a big disadvantage in this situation, actually.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. You got a lot to do in a very short time.
Yep.
And then do you want to take a stress?
I will.
Okay. So I think that takes you, is that overwhelmed?
Last slot, that'll put me at overwhelmed.
All right.
It's worth it, though.
That's what, 2 cards?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it.
I believe. I still believe. All right. I got an edge. That's a hit.
Okay, that is a hit. On an edge, you must choose one of the following: gain a stress, which you can't do; lose an important item; make a lot of noise. The GM draws threat.
I'll make a lot of noise.
Yeah, yeah. You're probably like, like Ripley does in Alien, like, come on, God damn it, or like I guess it's Aliens where she yells that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Damn you, or what she say, like, damn you, what's the android in that? I'm locking up. But anyways, so you're yelling out stuff. I'm not going to bother drawing threat cards. I have a ton of them, but yeah, it makes good sense. And I think at that point, you look to the left, you look to the right, and you see coming down the pass, like these black shapes look running at high speed along these walls, along the roof, moving into this area.
Yeah.
And it's time to get the hell out of here if you're going to escape.
Yeah.
Where are you going to escape to? What's your escape plan, if any? We'll assume that you've kind of mapped this out. You know kind of where to go if you want to get there.
I think it's just as fast as I can, back the way I came, towards that like main part where I can turn, try and get to the ship.
Okay. And which ship are you trying to get to? Like the transport ship that we
Transport
described?
ship, yeah.
The same one that like Matsushita and those guys are moving towards? Okay.
Yeah.
So we see there's a cut scene again of the three of them reaching this actually I think what we see the two of them running up to this, like the entrance into the airlock that goes into the umbilical that goes out to this, and they're opening it up. And we see sort of in the background that Mitchell is like wrestling with a xenomorph. Like he's, doing his best to battle this thing. And he's losing, but he's giving them time. He's holding this thing off. So the two of them are moving down this umbilical towards the ship. And let's find out if we see you and maybe Quinn, meeting there, making your way there too, dramatically. I'm going to have Quinn. Are you doing or going anywhere else, or is this also your plan?
If I'm mobile enough, I'll move toward the transport now that my mind is no longer controlled by the Queen.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to finish off our game with 2 runs, and each of you can describe. Let's look at the move. It kind of tells us what to do here. So let's start with, I think. Let's start with Melody. So Melody, narrate the first half of a hectic chase. So just use your imagination, describe how you make your way here, then we'll draw, find out whether you succeed or not, and narrate the rest. What's the first half of your hectic chase, making your way through the hive, chased by xenomorph warriors, hot in your tail? That's you, John.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking to Quinn.
No, it's Melody.
My apologies. Okay.
No problem.
What am I drawing?
Narrate the first half of your hectic chase, being chased by the xenomorphs through the hive.
Oh, I think we see Melody, turn and run back into the hive, and she goes to turn around one corner and then just comes face to face with a drone that's just perched there and waiting. And she turns and spins around and goes another way, and it's just constant twisting and turning, trying to dodge, and you can just see how they're coming out of just crevices everywhere and starting to just gather as they're almost like they're watching her just run through. I feel like it even gets a sense of like they're funneling her or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and do your draw then. But actually, let's get Quinn's description, and then we'll do the draws. I think that's more dramatic. So Quinn, what does your chase look like?
So Quinn is kind of like, since his leg is so messed up, he's kind of he's forced to stay low and kind of drag himself across the ground. And what he's grabbing all these pieces of of resin. He's like using those as handholds as he crawls along. And as he's crawling along in the foreground, in the background, we see that there's an egg that the petals have just flipped open on it. And you see some things squishing around in it. And you can see that Quinn is headed straight for it, although he doesn't realize it.
Right. Okay, perfect. So let's do Melody's draw. I think that will be best because maybe Quinn can help. I think that's reasonable, but not vice versa because Melody's maxed out on stress. So, Melody, you are doing the run move. So, do you have any expertise that would help you do what you described? Are you muttering your prayers as you do this? Although I guess you can only do that once per session. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think I have anything.
No, maybe your faith is a little shaken right now. So, sharp eyes connected. I think your sharp eyes would fit here. Maybe you, like you said, you kind of like go down one way and you spin because you spot one of these things in the wall or whatever. So I think I can give that to you. So that's 2 cards. Do you have the right tool for the job? I don't see anything.
Nope.
Do you can't significant advantage?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna give it to because I think Quinn's easier prey. I'll put it that way. If anyone's gonna get away, you're more likely. So I'll give you 1 there. 3, and you can't take stress. You got 3 cards.
Yep. All right, edge. Another edge, and a miss.
Okay. So you're going to escape. It was close, you gain stress. It's difficult, you gain a hurt. Now you're lost and alone. Complete the new location move. The lost and alone might be the one. Let's see how Quinn does. Actually, I'm just going to jump in and say, let's do the lost and alone because I think the end result's going to be grim for the 2 of you here.
Yeah.
And then same deal for Quinn. Quinn, do you have any expertise that would help you with the way you described your chase?
No.
Okay. Do you have the right tool for the job? Do you have any equipment or anything that would have helped you here?
No.
No, probably not. Do you have significant advantage?
Nope.
No. And do you want to take a stress?
Sure.
Yeah, you might as well at this point. So 2 cards. Whoa. Wow, you got that a lot. All right, so you escape too. So I think it's the time for the narration. We see the 2 of you run past Mitchell. He's bleeding. Like his arm's been ripped off, his head's hanging from his shoulder, half ripped off his neck, and he's like, there's like a dead xenomorph laying in front of him. And he's like bubbles up he's trying to say something to you, but he just bubbles up that coolant. He tries to reach to stop you as you go past. You run down this umbilical. Maybe, despite your conflict, I'm imagining Melody is like holding Quinn up, trying to like get him in there. Brooklyn's with you because we don't want to kill someone's character when they're not here. So at least Brooklyn's helping Quinn, maybe. Maybe that's more realistic given circumstances. And we see you run in. The airlock that leads into the ship is closing. You slip in, and you feel the ship launching, and there's probably like a window. You're looking out the window of the airlock as it's cycling, and you're moving away from the station, and you see like your ship, like your shuttle, Falade and the rest of your crew sort of like coming out. But you see like a missile come launched from this module, and it goes, hits your shuttle, blows that up. So that's bad news for you. And then probably given that we said that Falade and Brooklyn had sort of a burgeoning romance, maybe they were maybe Brooklyn's really heartbroken by this, and the 3 of you stumble out of the airlock, and you come out and you see that you're in you're in a cryo bay. It comes right out into it. Like this whole ship is almost all cryo bay, and you see that there's row after row of up, standing up, like upright cryo beds. So you see, all these people, and you're walking along, and you see all these people, and then you see that there's a row of people that all have face huggers on their faces. And then across over there, you see there's these little cryo beds that all have like xeno eggs in them. And then over there, there's these large cryo beds that have like xenomorph warriors that are in cryo sleep, and you realize, you've gone from the frying pan into the fire. And I think that's where we'll stop.
Very good.
So it is past 11. If you have to go, that is perfectly fine. But if you can hang out for a few minutes and do stars or what do they call it at the end? Roses and thorns. I'd be happy to hear it. If you have any playtest feedback, you can provide that right now, given how much time you have before you have to take off, or you can always supply it, via Slack or email. So if you guys are willing, let's go around quickly, give some feedback. Let me start with John.
Yeah. Gosh, where to start? Had a lot of fun. Really enjoyed this session. I enjoyed getting a little bit of PvP in there. I thought it all kind of tied together really well. I thought it was really funny how Melody wanted to keep claiming that all of this was Quinn's fault, and then lo and behold, you find Quinn at the end trying to release the queen. It just came together very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't know that I have any thorns. I would say in terms of playing feedback, I don't know. I feel like I'm awful at giving feedback if not asked directed questions.
That's fair.
I like what you've done here. I mean, I can see the bits and pieces you've pulled from the different games. I think it all fits really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, the one thing I felt like was kind of a downside was my agenda and background were just sort of at odds, and so I kind of knew whichever one I flipped first, it probably meant I wasn't flipping the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's really a bad thing. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it, but it did make it difficult. Like, oh yeah, it would be nice to get another card on the table, but it just isn't going to happen.
Would you like to share what your agenda was, or would you rather just keep it secret?
No, totally fine with that. My agenda was greed.
Greed. Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe if I got really creative, I could find a way to be. Maybe it's a faith that values things.
Sure.
And so I could have found some way to have brought the two together.
Yeah, you were kind of hinting at it. We were like, you left the church because of your material, greed, I guess. So yeah, but it is perfectly valid to be like, I can only play one or none or whatever. It's a perfectly valid way, I think, to play this.
Yeah. And just with the path our story took too.
Yeah. So yeah, you never know when you pick. You have to pick it in the beginning, and then you never know where the story's going to go. So whether it's going to work or not. So that's valid. I wrote one of the very first things in this. I actually wrote like the backgrounds and the agenda is almost the first thing before even the rules were out there. So I've gone through several passes to sort of like mesh them better into the rules and stuff. But I could do it again to kind of, because I think Matthew already said something about his agenda didn't give him it sounds like he was kind of saying like it doesn't give him enough push motivation wise, which I can appreciate that also. So okay, great, thank you for that. And Mark.
Yeah, so I'm getting echo. Sorry about that. So first, John, it was great to play with you again. I really liked the opportunity also that we had to play during that PvP so that we could play the two characters off each other. I thought that worked really well. And Jason, I enjoyed the system too. I'm not good at I'm not analytically minded enough to really provide like a breakdown and that kind of thing, but I think that the pacing ramped up so much during this session. So it really felt like over the course of the series, like it moved from kind of that slow kind of methodical exploration and really ramped up until it was just almost utter chaos there at the end. So that seemed
Right.
like that worked really well. That was super duper fun.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of that's just rushing because we only have so much time to finish up a story, and that was important to me to have a finish that felt pretty good. And so start my roses and thorns. I think, Mark, I really appreciate you were game all along to like do the dumb stuff, like to go with the being manipulated, to be taken control of by two different forces. That really opens up the story when you're willing to just go for it. And then I don't know if you did it on purpose, but then you ended up delaying doing something with your being overwhelmed. So that gave me that perfect opportunity, to go ahead and be like, okay, well, I'm going to take control of you for a little while, put you in this dramatic spot, that really helped the story come to a conclusion. It was, how do you guys feel about the story in terms of where it finished? Does that feel good? I mean, I know it didn't feel good because you ended up being in a horrible place and everybody else died, but does that feel genre appropriate, the way it finished?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It was really that scene where you guys, got to the operations center and the NPCs were there, and it was clear, I'm sure to you guys, that they were not your buddies anymore. There was that menace of Mitchell, and I could see you both freezing, like being like, what do I do? What can I do? Like, I sense that you both felt kind of helpless, which in that situation I think was delicious. I think that was, I don't want to make it uncomfortable for you guys, but that seemed like a very powerful scene of having you both facing down with Mitchell, being given orders, and both being like, am I going to cross the Rubicon and do something here, or am I going to back off? And me pushing you to finally Mark pulled his pistol out, and then all hell broke loose. Or actually, I guess it was actually no, when John made his run for it. That was the moment that opened up the floodgates of the violence. So that was really fun. I wish we would have had another opportunity to have some flat out conflict with drones. I was thinking of, like, I had some other cards I could have played, but in terms of time, cutting that out, I decided, not to go there. But like having someone be grabbed, or having face down with another xenomorph would have been interesting. You guys were really good all game long. You started out being civvies, not having good gear, and you not until the very end did Mark declare a pistol. I don't think John, you ever declared any weapons. You ended up just having like a utility knife basically, or like a multi-tool, like you said, like a Swiss Army knife or something. And so you really handicapped yourself all game long, which I think was probably your choice. That's the game you were looking for, and that's what you got. What else? John, I all of your input was good. I could tell, you were always really paying attention. You were really on top of the story. When you got your moments, to put your input in, you were right on target. And I really noticed that in the way you played. That made it very easy. I always knew that, you were to be the guy that really was on top of it. Did you guys feel confused by rules throughout the game, or did you feel comfortable, or somewhere in between?
I'd say I felt comfortable. The only difficulty I had was knowing which move section to look under at points.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do a lot in terms of, some games I'll go and I'll sort of proactively read the moves, and then I'll look for opportunities to trigger them.
Mm-hmm.
This one I didn't really do that. I more just declared things, and then you told me, oh, that's that move.
Yeah.
And that worked very well for this game.
Yeah. I mean, the way I've organized it, maybe it feels like there's a lot. I mean, of course I'm super biased because I've written it and played it a lot now, but it's all natural to me. But there's not a lot when you actually get down to it in terms of the moves. There's, like, when we were getting down to the action part of this Act 3, it's like, do you fight? Are you facing adversity or running? There's only a few things to choose from at that point. All the other stuff falls by the wayside. But yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Mark? Did you feel comfortable rule wise, or did you struggle?
No, I had essentially the same experience John did, which is probably good for you to hear because I mean, good for you to know that really just kind of figuring out which moves section to look under at any given point was really the only thing that was kind of that was a barrier in some way, and it wasn't much of a barrier. As John said, we just explained to you the thing that we wanted to do, and then you
Sure.
told us what move goes along with it. So that worked great.
Sure. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I mean, it's everything I could hope for. It was very much an alien game. I think we've turned over the stones on all the different mechanics as we played. You know, you guys getting the PvP in there a little bit today. I think that's probably. I think the way we played it is probably the way to go. One thing that I try to do a lot in this game is not to repeat moves, like, you know, even from last session to this, you know, like changing the overwhelmed move so that you didn't have to keep doing it over and over again. Even today you probably should have, but you didn't have a chance. You know, you again today you were overwhelmed, but John did take advantage of it, you know, to when he got the edge to give me a couple extra consequences to get your stress down a few more points, and that makes a big difference. You're not always at 4 or 5, you know, like the whole game long. It felt pretty good. Like you guys were struggling with stress, but you weren't totally handicapped. So that felt good. I think a lot of times, like the point where I went in and like when you were in a stressful situation and one of you'd be like, I want to do this, I want to go hide, or I'm going to try to run. And then me jumping in and say to the other person before we resolve that, do you want to do the same thing or are you doing something else? That's good because then if you're doing the same thing, we'll just group it together into one draw. I think that's a good strategy just for PBTA. Get away from the thing like in classic, you know, traditional games where everybody rolls sneak, you know, everybody rolls to hit, you know, like it gets tedious and it's very time consuming. So it worked. I think that worked real well. All right, guys. So that's it. Thank you very much for playing. I hope you guys. I think you both said you hadn't been playing much on the Gauntlet or at all. So I hope you get back into games. I want to see you guys again in some games coming up. But if not, have a good one. Thank you very much for playing.
Thanks, Jason. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, folks. Good night.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.